Golden Star Cowboys podcast is back for you. We are recording this Sunday night after the Cowboys' 41-7 loss to the Eagles. We have Jon Machota, Saad Youssef live in Philly. We have Kit Garrison. And, John, I guess we'll start with you. I guess Rico had 100 yards, so there's one good thing. Not a lot of good here today.
Yeah, I think if you're writing a game story, you just got to build it all around Rico getting 100 yards and getting 1,000 on the season when the other running back went well over 100 yards and he got 2,000 on the season. But no, just a fascinating game. No, it's one of the worst games I've ever attended as professionally. I've definitely attended some terrible Lions games as a kid, but professionally, it's the worst. I mean, there's not a lot of great storylines to come out of it from a Cowboys perspective. You knew it wasn't going to be great on offense the minute you heard that CeeDee Lamb was going to be shut down for the final two games. But the thing I wrote about off of the game was kind of this was an opportunity for some of the other receivers to step up, but we knew it was unlikely that was to happen. But it just, especially when you're watching that Eagles team where they've made a big investment at quarterback and they've made a big investment at running back and at number one receiver and number two receiver. And Cowboys are halfway there. They made the big investment at quarterback. Obviously he's hurt. Wide receiver one, hurt, out. I get all that. But when you look at what they've done at running back and the investments there and at the number two wide receiver, like whether it's Mike McCarthy calling plays or somebody else next year, like the scheme only goes so far. You need the talent. And it's just very clear. Like, I don't look at this Cowboys roster and go, oh, well, they definitely have a number two receiver here. Like, they have like CeeDee Lamb and a bunch of guys that could be like three-ish guys. And then their starting running back is probably on a really good team, your number two back.
Yeah, I think for me, John wrote that for me as I was watching that, for what I was thinking about, what I ended up writing about was just about how the NFC East has been Cowboys-Eagles for, the past decade or so, aside from that blip on the radar that was 2020 where everything flipped around. Washington was 1, Giants were 2, Cowboys and Eagles were 3 and 4. It's been Cowboys-Eagles, and I think the Cowboys, it's similar to everything what John just said, but like when you look at what the Cowboys have done and what they're planning to do, Stephen Jones talking about it's going to be maybe another quiet offseason, things like that. If they don't take this seriously, they can slip out of the 2 slot in the NFC East and not make this a 1-2 race, and they could fall into being in the 3rd if they're not careful. We've talked about it a lot on this podcast. We're not all jumping on the Jaden Daniels bandwagon just now. Like, you got to show it for more than a year. We've seen it with RG3. We thought that was a new era in the NFC East in 2012. It was not. Then we saw it with CJ Stroud. You've seen it with other guys, but with the trajectory of where things are at right now with Washington and Philly. 2 years ago, Philly was a 14-win team, and they're about to be a 14-win team again if they beat the Giants next year. It's just they're not going anywhere. The other thing is Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith. All of those guys are 27 years old or younger. This isn't a team that's going anywhere. I know you have to pay people and you're going to lose some people in that way, but in terms of who you want to keep, Howie Roseman has done a great job of building this team, not just through draft and develop. That's where Jalen Hurts and Devontae come from, but also trading for A.J. Brown, trading for Darius Slay, signing Saquon Barkley. Like, you have to use the full realm of your player acquisition window, and the Eagles really showed how to do that.
Yeah, I think both of you guys make really good points about everything, but then it's also like, okay, the Eagles are really good this year. We know that. I keep going to where was the 24/7? Like the Eagles, it feels like they're acquiring talent all year long. They're going to do like every aspect of it, and that's like I just bugs me that we miss out on some of that because of excuses. Do we have more excuses, or is it just because we all follow the Cowboys and cover them? I feel like the excuses for this franchise are there. It's the cap. You'll hear the owners say that. You'll hear the injuries, and I just don't know, man. No one wants to hear excuses. Like that's not how this is going to work. Like to get beat 41-7, okay, whatever, we're out of the playoffs. Well, doesn't that completely shoot an arrow into the they've been fighting argument? Of course they've been fighting. They've been trying to win. Today, they got their ass kicked because they're not very good. And like it kind of like I end up there. Yeah, you're good enough to go beat the Giants and the Panthers, and maybe if the Buccaneers don't have a great game, you can go string it together. And then you go to one of the perennial teams, Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia twice, and you get smoked. And it really slaps you in the face and reaffirms what you thought. You ain't up there, and you got a long way to go till you get up there. So
yeah, and I think even if you were swinging and missing, I think people could understand that a little bit more. There'd still be complaints, obviously, but I just feel like that if you follow this team, you don't feel like they are turning over every stone. You don't get the feeling that they're doing every last possible thing to do, like you said, like the Eagles just seem like they're always doing things to churn the roster somehow, some way, whether it be through the draft or making a trade or signing somebody in free agency. And they just seem aggressive. And the Cowboys seem like they're just kind of like, almost like, this is our base offense. This is what and I'm not saying their actual offense, even though you could use the analogy there too, but the way that they run the whole ship is like, this is our base. This is what we do. It's not going to be the worst in the league, but we won't do enough cutting edge stuff to make it the best in the league either. So we're just going to hang around the rim.
No, don't say that. I feel like we say that a lot.
Well, they're the ones, we didn't introduce it. They introduced it.
That's true.
And shared it a lot.
But even like, okay, so where's this team if they're healthy, right? How many times have we asked this question to each other? I feel like we have a lot.
Well, yeah, to your point, KT,
playoffs?
like,
I don't know.
Your thing about excuses, and you brought up two things, the cap and injuries. And I'm with you to a large extent. I'm with you on that, because you can bring up the cap. At the end of the day, if you sign Dak and CD when you should have signed them, then you have a lot more cap space. So there's that. And then with the injuries, to your point, the Cowboys were 3-5 when Dak Prescott went down. And I know there were other injuries, but I keep going back to the same thing. DeMarcus Lawrence was there. Micah Parsons was there. Trayvon Diggs was there. They were all there when the Saints blew the crap out of the Cowboys in week 2, a Saints team that's very bad this year as well. So, yeah, I mean, this team wasn't very good even as they were coming into this season. I just think there's some easy outs then of being cap restrained. And we talk about CeeDee Lamb being, not in sync with Dak Prescott. Well, at the beginning of the season, well, why? Like, why did that happen? That was self-inflicted. That's not you can't do something to yourself and then use that as an excuse. Like, that's your fault.
And I'm looking at the schedule right now. I'm trying to come up with, because you asked where would they be, KT. So it's just like, well, when Dak got hurt, they're already to 3-5. So like, I still don't think they're beating Philadelphia. Houston, I guess, is maybe up in the air, but if that game wasn't close, it was 34-10. So then it leaves you with Washington, which they won anyway, New York, which they won anyway. So I'll give them Cincinnati, losing that game late. Maybe they beat the Bengals because the Bengals aren't very good. They beat Carolina. They beat Tampa Bay. I still think they lose to Philadelphia today. So that puts you at one whole game better. That would put you right down there at old 8-8.
Yeah.
That's not getting you in the playoffs.
No, it's not. If so get healthy, have a good draft, some free agency, and that's like, it's going to need to be more than that. And the one thing you have here, and this is a big story. This was on the Fox pregame show. I'm sure you guys saw this. I guess let me ask this before we get into it. How was Big Mike after the game? Because he apparently was pissed at halftime, according to Pam Oliver.
He wasn't in a great mood. I just felt like he was pretty much what you would expect after that game. I wouldn't read anything into it one way or the other. I didn't. He's been more frustrated after losses this year. He's been in better moods after losses this year. So I don't know. I'd kind of put it somewhere in the middle, but there was nothing that I pulled from it where I was like, ooh, there's something here in this answer or the way his body language was or whatever. I don't think there was anything like that. But no, I didn't see. What did Pam say?
Well, I mean, basically, she asked him a question and he didn't answer it, and he answered that we've got to take care of the damn ball.
Yeah, he was frustrated about that, which is obvious. Yeah,
as he should have been. Yeah, he should have been. Those are some terrible turnovers that can't happen, and maybe the game looks a little different there. It's Cowboys put together some couple of decent drives there in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Both of their first 2 drives. But I mean, the first drive they were driving, and then Cooper Rush throws that pick 6, and the second drive they go all the way down and score a touchdown. So you're looking at 10 points minimum right there. I mean, that was a third down when Cooper threw the pick 6, and so maybe you're settling for a Brandon Aubrey field goal in that situation. But you're looking at probably 10-7. I don't know what the Eagles offense does because their first 7 points came off the pick 6, but you're looking at 10 points in your first 2 drives.
Yeah, those are 2 of the worst throws of the year. The pick 6 and then the triple coverage Bomsky. But you know what? Hey, that's swinging and missing right there, John.
It just
triple coverage.
It's rare. It's rare to throw a deep ball in there. 3 of their guys are closer to it than one of your guys. Like there was multiple players who could have picked that thing off. Yeah, just not good. Not good.
Not good. Not good at all. So the Fox pregame show has Jay Glazer basically doing a report. It was really quick, but he had also gone into this on his podcast 5 days ago. Look, we had Diana Rossini talk about this the other day on her show and all this stuff. But basically the idea that there are teams with head coaching jobs that have Mike McCarthy on their coaching list. So, and then Jimmy Johnson weighs in, drops his signature catchphrase, "How about them Cowboys?" Go along with extends, "I do." And then he says, I think Mike McCarthy should be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. So,
I haven't heard many people
Jimmy
say
and
that
Jay.
he shouldn't. Yeah. So the narrative has shifted significantly.
It has, dude. I've been at it back and forth with people on that stupid Twitter app today. If people are like, "Well, who do you want, KT?" I'm like, "Where are all these McCarthy guys coming from?"
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
I was talking to somebody earlier today about that. The one thing I will say when you bring in the Twitter, because I do waste/spend a lot of time on there, you also got to understand a little bit of this too. To just assume that those fans that are arguing with you make up the majority, I wouldn't go that far. And the reason why I say this is because where the Cowboys are this year, the direction they've been going, and the fact that there's probably a lot of people out there that are ready for something different. There's probably a lot of burnout out there of a lot of fans who are not even getting on that Bird app anymore. They're like, I'm not doing this. I'm not arguing with people. They can do something else. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just think that you might get a little oversaturated with some homer type people that are going to love the team no matter how they do because they're just always a Cowboys fan. And that's fine. I get there's a lot of fans that are like that, and they're going to be far less critical of the team. And so those are going to be more of the type of people that are still on X than I would say the group that's probably like, yeah, it's time to make a change. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's been 5 years. There were 3 good years, but there was not enough success in January. And then this season has been a disaster. And you can blame the injuries on some of it, but we saw too much early in the season to make you think it's only injuries. And things are stale. People are looking for something different. And so I think that if this was week 3 or 4, I think you'd still have more of those people. But I think so many people are beaten down now that it's late December that they're just like, I'm not even logging on there. I don't want to argue. Let them make a move, and then I'll determine how much I'm going to be invested in this team online, buying tickets, merchandise, and whatever after the season's over. But until that happens, I'm sitting this one out.
Yeah, KT, another point that I'll say that I think momentum for Mike comes from is when you think about the quote-unquote beloved figures that have spoken up in support of Mike recently, whether that be Troy Aikman on the broadcast, on a Monday night broadcast. He's done it on the ticket as well, speaking in favor of Mike McCarthy. You just mentioned Jimmy Johnson. Those are people that Cowboys fans hold in high regard. And then on top of that, you have Dak Prescott coming out and not just expressing like some typical support for McCarthy, but then also kind of taking a slight at Jerry when he says that, which is kind of, as much as fans might want to see Mike gone, any criticism for Jerry is going to get a lot more traction than even the Mike stuff. So you got your starting quarterback who's calling out basically Jerry a little bit by saying, Mike under his terms, control, whatever. And then you have Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson saying that they want Mike McCarthy back. They think Mike McCarthy should be back. All of a sudden, I think you get a lot of fans that are just buying into that a little bit more. So I think that's where all this has happened. All three of those people have happened in the last like 3-4 weeks. So I think that's where it's picked up a little bit too. On top of going 4-1, oh, they're fighting for Mike McCarthy, all of this. So I think all of that combined factors into where some of that momentum comes from.
Right now, it seems like one of two things is going to happen. Either Mike's coming back or another team's going to lure him away. And those both seem insane to me.
They do to me, but
right? Right
know.
now, the shocking thing would be Mike McCarthy losing his job after not making the playoffs with the Cowboys. That seems crazy. Here's my question, though, for you guys. Does Mike want to come back?
I think so.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't.
I think so, and none of the situations that he could possibly go to. In fact, the teams that Glazer mentioned on his podcast the other day. Now, there is also reason to believe that Glazer and McCarthy go way back. So we all know how that game works as well, though, all over the map. That's with every team. But the teams he threw out there, I think, were like the Giants, the Raiders. He might have thrown out the Jets too.
Saints
is what I'm getting.
Saints have to be the top threat to me. If there is one team that could lure Mike McCarthy away in every sense of the word of luring him away, I think it would be the Saints.
I think it's the Jets.
And just think about
it.
And again, I
love it.
And just think about what you guys are saying right now. So let me just explain like what I'm thinking off of your guys' comments right there. I would love to do an anonymous, because we don't need phoniness. I want factual, off the record, all 32 coaches on listing all those jobs, including the Cowboys job. I'd love to see how many of them pick any of those other teams other than the Cowboys that they'd want to be the coach. I would love to see it. I would be stunned if it was more than 5 that would pick those other teams over the Cowboys. Because this is the thing that you guys are forgetting. Like, there's a lot of arrogance and ego that comes with coaching at the highest of levels, and to be the guy that like took the Cowboys to have success. No offense to the Saints. What are we doing here?
I hear that, but
the New York Jets. I mean, guys, what are we doing here?
Well, I do think the Jets would. I'm not saying
it would mean something
Cowboys,
if he won with the Jets. I think so.
Yeah, I think the Jets. I think the Jets would mean a lot.
Whoa! Did I say didn't mean anything? There's levels to this shit. It mean as much as the Cowboys? Laughable. Laughable.
Well, you're talking about likelihood too, and I don't know.
Likelihood in what? Likelihood in what, Joe Namath? Likelihood in what? Winning Super Bowls? What's the likelihood?
Likelihood at exceeding expectations.
Oh, with the Giants? The Giants?
The Jets.
Of the last, well, I'm just going with all these teams. The Giants, the Jets, the Saints. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this isn't even debatable to me. Like, so you have to deal with Jerry Jones? Okay. But if you win...
There's one caveat to the Jets thing that, the Aaron Rodgers aspect of this.
They're not even the most popular team in their own city.
Oh, totally. We're
why would
talking
you
about a
wanna go to the
situation
Jets?
that might attract Mike McCarthy.
Who, a washed quarterback?
Yeah.
Wow. Then you really don't think that he's that intelligent if you think that's what he's trying to do.
No, I just also think that, John, to your point about polling all the coaches, I hear what you're saying, but I think there's also a difference in someone who's already kind of been here, done that for 5 years, experienced everything, and then maybe is just, I think any coach, Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, I think all those guys would have Cowboys at the top of their list, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody that's already been here and feels kind of exhausted by whatever it may be could go and look for something different. I think that's the only thing that's different for that. I think Ben Johnson, you ask him, I don't think there's any team that's luring him away if the Cowboys are on the table. With McCarthy, someone who's won a Super Bowl already, someone who's done the Cowboys thing already, and even had success doing the Cowboys thing, not ultimate success, but had success. I could see him at his stage in life being in a situation where he wants to maybe do something else. I'm not saying it's more than likely. I don't give it a more than 50% chance, but I think it's less crazy to think that about McCarthy than it is about any of the other coaches that you would poll, including Belichick. Like if you ask Belichick, somebody who hasn't been here and he's looking for a new challenge, I think that would be the Cowboys would be number one on that too. But McCarthy, I could see it if he is, kind of exhausted by it.
You just would have to give me a better list of names to change my mind on this. If you were saying like this was between the Chiefs job came open, or the Steelers, or the Ravens, or maybe even the Eagles or the Packers, like I could understand when we're coming with Saints and Jets and Giants. I'm just like,
well, Eagles
I mean, throw the Bears in there too. I mean, let's get all the clown shows and let's get them all together in the same clown car, and you guys want to throw the Jags in there too? I mean,
I'd like to get the Raiders.
I don't know.
In there
Some of Mike's frustration about not signing players and kind of how he talked about that.
Yeah, go fix the Saints.
It made me think he's not going to be super stoked about signing up for 3 to 5 more years of not signing players and go draft somebody or lose. That's kind of the mentality.
He could be.
I will say this real quick about the Jets as well. The Jets might be number 2 in the NFL in terms of taking them over the top would mean the most. Like if Cowboys are number 1, Jets might be number 2. Like what other team would you say that if you took it over, it was a bigger feather in your cap than you took the team with the longest playoff drought in all of North American sports, and you went and won a Super Bowl with them after they had a washed quarterback and everything like that? They haven't won a Super Bowl since the 60s. Like I think they would be number 2 behind the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's kind of high. I don't know about that. I think
what other team would even be in that conversation?
I think the Lions. I think the Bills. I mean, you're telling at least the Jets have won a Super Bowl. The Browns, the Lions, the Bills, none of them have even won a Super Bowl, and they all have pretty diehard football fan bases as well. Like the Jets being in the same as the Giants, like that always will take away from me. You're not even the biggest. You're not even the biggest show in your own town.
Yeah, but the Lions are no longer the clown show they were. So at this point, I'm saying like if another coach went, Dan Campbell taking the Lions and doing it, I agree because he's the guy that went there and did it. But I'm saying now if there was another coach to go up there and elevate the Lions past into the Super Bowl.
You're just going off of today?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the game's changed then. Chicago Bears would be on there.
I still put the Jets above Chicago.
No way.
100%.
The Bears have a way crazier fan base. They have a way more passionate group that thinks that it's just complete dumpster fire over there, that think that it'll never be turned around. They would definitely be higher on that list for me too. The Jets just don't.
Jets are high though. I mean, they're high on the list, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
The Cowboys or Bears.
They're not.
They'd be top 5.
They're definitely not anywhere close to the Cowboys.
So from like a realistic standpoint, though, here's what's going to happen. We got the game next week, and then you'll have Black Monday or whatever, and
I don't
then
want realism around here, KT. Come on.
I know, right? The Cowboys will spend a whole week evaluating and doing the post thing, and then they'll be real slow about it, and they will make a decision later in the week, like they did with Garrett, and it'll probably be just like it was last year. McCarthy's coming back, I would imagine, or maybe it's not. We'll see. That's why I wonder how intense those conversations are. Because that could swing the McCarthy free agent leverage meter if there is such a thing. But Glazer's claiming that there is. That okay, well we'll bring you back, but we're bringing in a play caller. That could get that foot out the door a little faster for him.
Is there a group of people out there that are going to be real frustrated if one of these teams swoop in and Mike leaves and takes the job there? Like, is there going to be this revolt of? I mean, when I go to the Star one day, are there going to be all these people out there like? So mad, that's so mad that Jerry messed that up and let Mike McCarthy leave. Like what is what is this group of who are these people?
Oh no, they're a silent faction.
There is just this there's this hipster type like let's be different, and like all of a sudden, and I've noticed over the last month of like maybe Mike just doesn't even want to be here. Like
okay, no, I noticed that too. Right?
Let's see that,
bro.
Let's see that.
They're few, but they're loud.
Yeah.
With just the whole I don't know, 12,
and
all the stuff that are in favor of him.
Side of it because it fits so perfectly with the Cowboys, because the Cowboys absolutely encapsulate everything that is like they are the big pop music band. The thing that everybody like kind of gravitates to, has an opinion about. Like they're just out there. You know what I'm saying? And so they're not like the indie rock kind of whatever. So let's just flip to the whole. Maybe Mike's just sick of the whole thing. Okay, well, if he is, then he can leave. Like, what are they not going to have a team next year? They're not going to have somebody coaching the team? Like, I don't know. I just would like to know who these people are that would be just so frustrated. They're like, yeah, Jerry messed up another thing. He let Mike go to the Saints. Like, what?
Those are people who blame everything on Jerry to begin with, anyways, and that's fine. Jerry should get the largest portion of the blame, and
no question.
But like every time we break down something with the Cowboys, there are 9, 10, 11, 12 things that are it's all a big pizza,
and that's fair. I'll sum it up to you the same way I talked about this earlier to Saad. They don't do enough with the salary cap. But we're not going to pretend like there isn't a salary cap. There's levels to this, and I get annoyed by the people that act like there's nothing, so everybody can just sign everybody. No, that's not true. Now, you want to be frustrated with the team that you're a fan of because they don't do enough. Absolutely, you should do it. But it gets to the extremes where people are just like, oh, it's just fake. The cap isn't real. It's just you can do whatever you want. You just maneuver whatever. That's not true either. That's a far extreme too. That there is a middle ground to this. Who's the New York Yankees that are just signing everybody because the cap's not real? Who is that team? You don't think that the Chiefs would love to re-sign Tyreek Hill and keep that whole band back together? No, you think they like struggling with the offense that they have right now? Where just kind of, hey, Patrick will figure it out in the end. You don't think they'd like to have some better weapons around him? Why didn't they just trade for Saquon Barkley? There's not a real cap. You can just add anybody you want like that. So there's extremes to all this stuff where you just kind of like, I get it. You can make an argument for any like little thing, but we're also going to rein things back in here and not live in pretend land either.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you also have to. I think what fans get frustrated with is there's not really that year where you can really point to where you say that's the Rams trying to win the Super Bowl.
100%.
That's the Saints trying to get the last bit out of Drew Brees.
Yep.
That's whatever. Like there's not that bit, and I think a lot of fans just want to see that one year where you're like, you know what? All right, we have to put up with 8 and 9, but it came after we truly went all in. But I don't think the Cowboys really have that year where you can point to, that's where that happened.
They dropped the hanging on the rim line, and it's like, brother, you haven't even shot the shot yet. Like, how are we up on the rim there? We have to release. I mean, it was easy to work at the baseball and just say bat on the shoulder, but it felt like it was a good time.
What if they say that when we're like in Indy or something for the combine and they go back to using the hanging around the rim again?
Oh, I love it.
No, we don't.
I love it. I wish they would work some food into it or something just to like mix up the catchphrase.
What if
we're all in?
What if Jerry keeps going with all in again?
Oh, I love that.
He's just like, we're just going to say this again. What?
I hope he takes like, this team is a good taco. It just needs a little hot sauce. So, I want him to find a way to work in some food jargon into it. I don't know. It's my wish, among other things. Yeah, the other thing, the cap, though, just the cap. I mean, they use the cap as an excuse for their poor decisions.
For sure.
And that's annoying.
For sure.
But, it's...
But there is also a salary.
The truth is, though, would you guys agree, going into Week 18, the number one story for this franchise is the future of the head coach? I'm not making that up, am I? Because that's the thing I'm thinking about the
Going
most.
into Week 18?
Yeah.
I feel like it was going into the last 2 months.
Okay, just making sure that I'm not too locked in on this big story.
No, that's clearly the story. It's not even close. Especially for this franchise, who is not going to do anything of note in free agency. It'd be different if it was like one of these teams where you're like, no, they've been hanging around the rim, so they might make some moves here and get kind of aggressive. That's not going to happen. And so the only major change you can make, that your quarterback's not changing. That your star receiver isn't changing. Your star defender isn't changing. So the biggest move you can make that can change things in the offseason would be a coaching staff change. No question, it's the biggest story. I can't even think what would be number 2.
Yeah, the only thing that would have been number 1 in place of that is what John just mentioned. If Dak wasn't signed, I think your quarterback position would even supersede the head coach. Although they'd kind of be tied at the hip, to be honest with you, but they'd be right there. And John said this before the season. I remember, like, before they actually signed Dak, them not signing Dak would have truly been all in on this year. Like, that's what really, in terms of not going and getting free agents and not getting all this talent, if you're not doing that, the only other justification for all in would have been your head coach and your quarterback. Your head coach, who is an offensive play caller and coordinator, and your quarterback are both in the final years of their contract, and we'd be having in an alternate universe, we'd be having a really fascinating conversation right now if Dak was expiring contract and Mike was as well. That would have been crazy.
Would have been kind of fun. Would have been kind of fun. All right.
The people that want to see Trey Lance would have been, I mean, they're loud right now, but man, can you imagine how crazy they would have been?
Yeah.
Well, I think they would have been justified in that sense. If Dak wasn't under contract, I'd want to see Trey Lance right now too.
We would have seen him probably.
Yeah, we would have
Well, maybe not. Yeah.
I think that everyone's forgetting the fact that the coaches and other players on the team watch practice that we don't all get to see. And
no.
It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have put him out there yet if they weren't like, yeah, this isn't good, guys. We're not doing this.
No, I don't think we would have seen Trey when everyone wanted to see Trey like 3 weeks ago. I think in these meaningless games after they've been eliminated from the playoffs, if Dak wasn't under contract, then I think we'd see Trey now. But I don't think 2 weeks ago, even if Dak was in the contract here, we would have seen.
What you said, John, though, is like that was the reports out of San Francisco. Like, yeah, we've seen practice, and they offering a fourth? Okay, yeah. So
I'm just saying,
we are.
You just piece together conversations you have and what we've gotten to see in training camp and then also in the preseason. Like, I don't know why. I don't know. I guess it's hope. Hope is the thing that
it's
everyone
something
likes.
Different.
People hope that he gets out there and he looks like he's back at North Dakota State or something. But I don't get why people don't understand that they're probably not missing out on anything. Like, hey, believe me, I don't get the sense that he's going to leave and like go to another team and all of a sudden that you're going to look back and go, that was the franchise quarterback. He was on the bench the entire time on the practice. I just don't think this is going to happen, guys. But okay, if you want to hold on hope on that, sure.
It's because we have the most boring quarterback room in the sport right now. I mean, like, dude, Cooper Rush is not fun. Cooper Rush is just buying some, and today's a bad day to say it, I guess. Adequate?
You think Kenny Pickett's
adequate backup quarterback?
Serious question. You think Kenny Pickett's fun?
No. I did in college, actually. He kind of run around.
Yeah, in college, yeah, for sure. But I'm talking about what you've seen from the NFL.
No.
Yeah.
No. But Cooper Rush also leads the league in balls thrown into the face mask of a defensive lineman.
I heard that today. I didn't even know that stat. I was a little surprised to hear that. He said the most batted down passes.
Dude, just ripping it into the interior defensive line. I love it. Whatever, man. Let's catch up later in the week. You guys be safe coming home. Everyone follow John and Saad's post-game reports and check them out on the social media and stuff. Get into a good hearty sports argument with them online if you'd like. I don't know. And make sure you're following Kent as well. We'll be back later in the week. Happy New Year to everybody. And Saad? Yes.
Yeah, it'd be remiss if we didn't mention Jonathan Mingo had his longest catch as a Cowboy today. So,
good little comeback route right there.
There you go. That's right.
Yes.
One catch for 12 yards.
You guys go in
targets.
We go in the next season. Where is he on the depth chart? What number wide receiver is he?
I think 9.
No.
5.
I'll give him 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I agree.
4 or 5. Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Brooks has got to be ahead of him at this point.
1.
He is the draft pick.
Oh yeah.
That's
true. Gosh, dang it.
To our Tankathon friends, by the way, we're 13th now. The Giants went ahead and said, you know what? We don't want the number 1 pick.
Wild.
And they threw up 45 on the Colts. So now if they really want Shedeur Sanders, they might have to trade up to go get him.
If Travis Hunter wasn't in this draft class, I don't even think it's that big of a deal. Because I just don't think about any of the other players like that. But the fact that you get a chance to get him, man, I wouldn't be messing around with that too much.
Travis Hunter and Neighbors with the Drew Lock.
Dude.
Look out.
Yeah.
Look out. Come on. All right.
Dude, if the Patriots get Travis Hunter, though, you got Christian Gonzalez and Travis Hunter back there on defense.
Woo, Booty and Hunter on offense. It's on. Scout Drake May. This is good. All right. Guys, be safe coming home, and we'll catch you up later in the week. It was a good 2024, so let's have some fun in 2025, I guess. Those weren't very profound words. It was a 41-7 game, for God's sake. We'll talk to you later in the week. Thank you all for listening to the One Star Cowboys podcast.
At the One Star Post Game, it's a whole lot of fun. With jokes and recaps once the match is done. From the field to the office, we're ready to go on the One Star Post.